It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross on Sactown Sports.
He joins us each and every week from The Athletic. And I believe either on his way, about to be on his way, somewhere close to being on his way, which is why we're not getting video Sam, to Salt Lake City, the home of the All-Star game. It's No Camp Sam. Sam Amick, good morning.
David, good morning. You know, all these years that we've been doing these conversations, I'm sure that your listeners just kept thinking to themselves, I need to see Sam's face. That's what they were all jonesing for.
So
I'm sorry to let you down.
I believe there's clamoring going on. There's clamoring for your face. That's fine. It's clam. Samuel, you are a national writer who has won many awards. You're in the Mount Rushmore upper echelon of plugged in voices and writers. Yet at the same time, you're a kid from Pleasanton that grew up in and around here, former B writer. You have memories of the rise of the Sacramento Kings back in '99. And in the previous segment, we were talking about some of the similarities in this run so far, at least, and pointed out that the combined starting age of that starting lineup was 127 years old, which is exactly the combined starting age of this year's starting lineup. But I'm sure you remember that series against the Jazz that went 5 games and how it was a process rehabilitating the Chris Webber image. Could Rick Adelman recover from Golden State and that failure, and on and on and on. It's kind of interesting to look back and compare and contrast.
It is, absolutely. Remind me quickly, my friend, what year was the Jazz series?
98-99.
All right, so quick funny story for you that I think kind of fits in nicely. In my office to this day, I have a roll of athletic tape that as a junior in college, when I kind of, finagled my way into a media credential for a Kings game as a member of the college newspaper, the State Hornet, when I kind of came up with some quasi-BS story angle that was going to get me in the door, I might have attended one of those games and might have broken all sports media ethics before I knew what the hell I was doing.
Yeah, baby.
Well done.
And on my way out the door, I just kind of snagged I'm admitting this publicly because the statute of limitations is up. It was Karl Malone tape, and it was like kind of embodied like that series. And I was in awe of these legends that were out there doing their thing. But yeah, that was the beginning. And in town, at that time, I was a guy who had only been in town for 2 years and didn't really know the area all that well. You could feel the buzz growing, and you could see, kind of eventually what they were starting to build. And it all started there for sure.
Well, I know a lot of fans were anticipating we'd get some building pieces during the trade deadline. Sam Amick joining us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Obviously, Monte keeps hush on a lot of stuff, Sam. What were you hearing the Kings, and what kind of negotiations were they in at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, they had a lot going on. I don't have a ton of detail other than I think we talked last week a little bit about the Vanderbilt, pursuit and the Matisse Thybulle pursuit. In general, though, I think that they were, the word that we kept using was protective of what they're doing. And that bared out, you know what I mean? I know some fans and maybe even media were surprised or disappointed that they didn't do more. But and that's one of those things where, welcome to pro sports. The judgment is going to come, if they look like they needed something down the stretch. Now, who knows on the buyout market how that's looking? I don't know specific names there, but certainly did talk to them recently, and they've got their board of candidates and folks that they think could help, and are analyzing that. But obviously, a quiet deadline for them.
Little surprising, Sam. Little surprising. The team goes to the 3 seed. Whether it's your Jared Vanderbilts or your Thomas Bryants, whether it's your Matisse Thybulles. I mean, obviously, we're not talking Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Were you a little surprised that Monte McNair and Wes didn't even? I mean, Kessler Edwards aside, didn't do something?
Yes, come on, the Kessler Edwards slander on this show.
I know. I got him in.
Yeah, you got him in. Yes, I mean, yeah. Bottom line, I was surprised. I always struggle to evaluate these things because we don't know the full context or even half of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where it gets hard. you can't tell me, you know, the Vanderbilt thing was the closest to same thing, real disappointment that they thought they'd be able to get that thing over the finish line. But then the 4-team deal that sends Westbrook to the Lakers and all those things, you know, comes into play, and they missed out, you know. But yeah, I was surprised.
Sam Amick joining us this morning. Sam, obviously the Lakers made a lot of moves at the deadlines. They looked, you know, pretty good last night. However, there's little rumblings that there might be some dissension between LeBron and AD at this point. Are you hearing anything about that, or is that just kind of stuff being thrown out in the media right now?
Yeah, you cut out a tiny bit. There's rumblings that what?
That there might be a little bit of a rift between LeBron and AD. Is there anything to that, or is that just kind of, you know, garbage being thrown out there right now?
No, I mean, I'm never one to call it garbage if it's, you know, I don't know what the root of it is reporting wise. I had not seen that. My experience with those guys is, you know, is extremely close, and, you know, and I don't have any reason to think that's changed. You know, I do wonder, just from a natural human standpoint, the LeBron experience, a little bit like the Kobe experience later in his Lakers years, is only going to get more and more tricky down the, you know, for the next year or two, as long as he's with the Lakers, because I think you have a team building component where everybody's trying to keep their head above water and be competitive, get in the playoffs, and God forbid contend for a title like they planned. But then he's also going to be celebrated at every turn individually. And I feel like that, even with the best of friendships and bonds and relationships, it would present a tricky landscape, if that makes sense. So, you know, and add in things like the Westbrook factor, which was an absolute irritant and as far as their locker room dynamics, things of that nature. I'm sure they've had challenges, but yeah, in my mind, you know, AD and LeBron have continued to be just side by side.
Sam, I'm going to ask you one of my favorite questions, one that I think is impossible to answer. You know, I've said before, nothing personal. I don't like Rob Pelinka as a GM. I don't have a lot of respect for how that organization is run. And you look up to this trade deadline. I thought he had a wonderful trade deadline. I was shocked at the amount of moves they were able to do, both in and out of the edges, to really do their best to put a team around AD and LeBron. But of course, I have my agenda and narrative, which is not thinking he's a good GM. So I have to allow for, how much, in your opinion, was it Rob Pelinka's negotiating skill, and how much does playing with LeBron, playing for the Lakers, Rich Paul and Clutch Sports, do the Lakers have an innate advantage in those situations when it comes to deadlines and acquiring players through those relationships, or does Rob deserve the credit here?
Yeah, I think at the deadline, Rob deserves the credit, honestly. And you know, and the rest of his front office, Joey and Jesse Buss are part of that group. Kurt Rambis as well. And I, you know, that's me trying to be fair.
Sure.
We've been very critical of them. And, you know, free agency to me is where that advantage bears out when it comes to being the Lakers. The trade deadline is ruthless, meaning that nobody is agreeing to something that they don't truly believe helps their team. And if anything, I would argue that the clutch component, if you're Rob, offers a hindrance at the trade deadline, because you might run into the politics that come with, you know, hey, hypothetically, we're going to go deal for these 3 or 4 guys. And then you might, you know, who knows, maybe you get a phone call, hey, none of those guys are clutch guys. Well, I don't care. I'm trying to make my team better. You know, like those, if anything, it's a hindrance in my opinion. So I thought they did a good job. I also thought it was pretty masterful when it comes to the LeBron component, meaning LeBron, as we know, had been really frustrated, even though he claimed he wasn't. And they made it clear that they put both first-round picks on the table to try to get Kyrie Irving. And that, I think, you know, finally took some heat off of them, the Lakers front office, when it comes to LeBron. Because now, and he even kind of tweeted about it, you know, maybe it's me, where he kind of turned the mirror back on himself, like, you know, all right, man, like they offer the 2 first. It just didn't get the job done. That's not what the Nets chose in that trade. So you make the team a little better. You keep options open this summer. You can still go big in the free agent market, and you get LeBron off your back a little bit. and then and you kind of see where it goes from here.
Sam, we got to run, but real quickly, Shams Charania reporting this morning, Kevin Love, it looks like he's going to be bought out by the Cavs. Any chance you think the Kings and Kevin Love might make a match in the buyout market?
Haven't heard that. The early noise was Miami. I wondered about the Lakers with the LeBron relationship. That would surprise me. I don't know if Kings assistant GM Wes Wilcox and Kevin Love crossed paths. I don't think they did in Cleveland. But yeah, that would surprise me.
All right, and last thing, you work with Shams. He's a colleague. You guys have met, right?
Yes, many times.
Is his hair as nice in person as it is on TV?
Yeah, that's the guy you want on video. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's a good-looking dude. His hair is perfect. Got a great smile. I can give you his number if you want it.
Actually,
do you
have? Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, Sam, like it or not, we're fans of yours. We appreciate your time each and every week. Have fun in Utah, but not too much fun, Sam. In Utah, remember, you're there to work, not to party, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, boys. Right. Just going to try to stay warm. Thanks.
Bye, Sam.
Yeah.
See you. Bye.